Hello, welcome back to Meaningful Conversation Live. My name is Beata Seweryn-Reid, and I come to you every Tuesday at noon to inspire you to change with my one of the most fantastic people in the world. I just bring the best ones. Today, I have this awesome lady with me. Her name is Michele Joy, and she is a master of manifestation, the law in attraction queen, and I am so excited to have her with me. She also has a podcast. She is author, a happiness coach, and many other. She does many other things. So welcome to Meaningful Conversations. Michele, please share with our audience what else you help people with.
Well, thank you, Beata, for having me on the show. I love that you're doing this. I love that you're sharing with the world your gifts, but also other people. So thank you for having me on your show. I've been very blessed. And thank you for calling me the Law of Attraction Queen. I'm going to own that because I've never been told that, and I'm going to own that. So we're just going to write that on my resume right now. But so thank you. But my journey, I guess, do you want me to start with kind of how I came into Law of Attraction?
Absolutely, because I know a little bit of your story. I know that you are freshly divorced, registered nurse, working in hospicium. Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about that time and how that part of your life took you on this great journey.
Well, it truly is a journey. The thing about my life, it is anything but planned. It is the opposite of planned. What happened is, I got a divorce. Again, didn't get married to get divorced. This is not something I expected. And we were together 16 years, and it was a very devastating divorce for me. I had two young boys, they're 3 and 5. So to all of a sudden be single was really scary. But the scariest part was I had to finally see me. And I was the kind of person who lived in denial my whole life. Like I didn't want to see myself. So it was through the trauma of my divorce that I started to pick up personal development books like crazy, right? Like many of us, we have probably bookshelves of personal development, especially after something like divorce. And I just kept reading these books. And the one thing that became clear is that my situation was something that I attracted to me. And some people be like, what do you mean? Like the person treated you like crap. They deserve to be punished. How dare them? But I actually, the more I read, the more I realized no, there's something within me that is attracting this. And how do I change that? It all starts with me. So the one thing, again, being in denial, is I actually had to know who I was. And that was really scary. Like to sit there with me was, the last thing I wanted to do, but I chose to do it, and I did it through meditation. And so amazingly enough, I find it really is amazing what happened. Only within 3 months of meditating, I had a spiritual awakening. And that was in 2011. And when I went through that moment of not believing in God or spirit or anything to know the whole universal energy, universal love, to know we are all connected. And that split moment that it occurred within me, it completely changed my life, Beata. At that point, my life was guided. It was like I was being pulled. So, and mind you, like you said, I was a nurse. I love being a nurse. I had no intention to ever leave nursing, but I kept being pulled and I kept getting curious, like, oh, well, this is exciting. Let's try this. And I was again, obsessed with personal development. And then I ran into the book called The Soul Loves the Truth by Denise Linn. And Denise Linn's a Hay House author. She's really big time. Although I knew nothing about her, I just Googled books on happiness because I just wanted to be happy. But again, it was no accident. At the end of her book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to meet this woman. I want to be like this woman. It was just I knew intuitively she was my teacher. And at the end of the book, she had a thing that you can sign up to be a soul coach, certified soul coach. And I said, that's it. I'm doing it. I don't know why. I took out money from my credit card. Got time off of work, made sure my boys were taken care of. And I set off to California to train as a certified soul coach. But it just kept being pulled, right? And so after my soul coaching, the biggest thing about soul coaching is you connect with who you really are, which was the journey I was on. Like, I want to know who I am. And once I came back from that, she said, why don't you get on meetups? It's a good way to connect with people and tell them about soul coaching. Cause I'm like, this is the best stuff ever. Like, people need to know about this. Right. And so I joined all these meetups, but I was a single mom with 2 kids. I worked 12-hour night shifts. How am I going to go? So I never went, but I signed up anyway. Well, then one day I got an email, which, through Meetup, you get a lot of emails, and 90% of the time, or maybe 99% of the time, I never read them. But this day I read the email, and it said, does someone want to take over this group? It was an established group. It's called the Law of Attraction for Happiness. And they had 500 members, and they're looking for a new facilitator. Well, I've never facilitated a group in my life. I've never even been to the group. And I said, yes, I'll do it.
Wow.
And of course, after I did it, I was like, oh crap, like, what did I do that for? Right. But it absolutely, that little step, again, being pulled, changed my life. So I started teaching that. I did it for 6.5 years, every other week. The grew from 500 to 2,200. Like, things just kept falling into place. And then because I cared so much about happiness and joy, I became a certified happiness coach, I think in 2013. And then I just, again, what's next? Like, what's the next pull? And I'm like, oh, I love Louise Hay. I love her work. I love the mind, body, spirit. I love that we can self-heal, especially being a nurse. I felt very powerful, I believe very strongly that we can heal our bodies through anything. And so I signed up to be a licensed Heal Your Life teacher, and met Victoria Johnson, which is how you and I connected.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I like to inspire people is, when you say yes to you, and that's the first step, is know who you are. For me, I just kept getting pulled. I kept getting said yes, and I kept getting curious, and I kept seeing where it took me. But to me, that's the true law of attraction. I was attracting the things that were the best for me. And that's how I teach.
I love what you said, that you were attracting this people and stuff, this goodness to you. So my next question is, because I think people are very confused about law and attraction concept and the power and the whole belief in it. Does the law and attraction have anything to do with our mindset and how we think? What is your words on
absolutely. It? Well, the hardest thing about law of attraction is we attract through our beliefs, and our beliefs are in our subconscious. So those are the things we're on autopilot for. And really 95% of our brain is our subconscious. So I say this because not to discourage people, but to understand why sometimes it's so hard to attract things. You're like, I'm doing all the affirmations, Michele, and I'm, doing the visualizations and all these things we teach in law of attraction, but it's not working. The reason is because we spent years developing those beliefs, and it's become a subconscious belief. But then we have that 5%, which is the gold. That 5% is the part we have control over. So that's what I teach about in law of attraction. Law of attraction is always happening. The universe is saying yes, 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 yes. There's something you don't want, you think about it, yes, you'll get the thing you don't want. Something you do want, you say yes, you get it. It's always saying yes. So we need to then focus on what we do want, and that 5%. And then what happens is you start making your new neural pathways, you're making new subconscious beliefs by repetitive thoughts. So when you think a thought over and over and over again, that becomes a belief. And so when people want to attract something in their life, they just need to focus on that 5% and to use that, their daily affirmations or their visualizations. There's lots and lots of tools that I teach, but the biggest thing besides all that is, to focus on what you do want, is to get into a place of joy. And so that's my next favorite thing. My next, actually, I would say it's next. Joy and law of attraction are both on the high. Like, they're the most important thing for me, because when we are in joy, we follow our joy. 2 things happen. A, you enjoy life, right? Being a hospice nurse, I know life ends. I know how many people live life with regret. So I'm on a mission to tell people, follow your joy. But when you are in that joy, when you're in that feel good place, which joy is like accessible all the time, by the way, it's a matter of seeing a child laugh or a dog, roll around in the grass and being super happy. That's joy. When you feel good, what happens is all those things that you want, those 5% that of your brain you're putting in, all these things you desire, it's waiting for you to take it. The whole universe is waiting. It's sitting there going, okay, I'm ready to come to you. But like attracts like energy. And that's the last thing I want to share. I mean, not last, but on law of attraction, like attracts like. So if you are wanting something, you have to get to that vibration, is what I call it, that place where it feels good. You feel good because that thing you want probably feels good too, and it's going to match. So your only job is to feel good. And I say, do that through joy. I know that was a lot, but in a nutshell, that's what I get excited about.
I love it. And I will go back to what you just said, but I think it's also, my next question is related actually to the beliefs that we would just touch, because by the way, Gary and Wes, thank you for being with us. If you have any questions to Michele, please let us know. And whoever I don't see, please let us know that you are with us and don't hesitate to ask questions. So my next question is actually from one of my friends, Facebook friends, and you've seen that actually question. So her concern is about her look. She doesn't feel like she's attractive lady, and she was going through some tough times recently, and she is very concerned about attract likes, but she doesn't feel like she's attractive. So how she can attract the right person? What is your...
Because it's all energy. It's all about how you feel about yourself. So I did a whole series on my podcast, which was Soulmate Saturdays. So I did interview soulmate relationships over, I don't know, a couple months. So I have several interviews. So the one thing I recommend is going back there, because the theme that I got for people who are attracting their soulmate is not how you look. It is not how much money you have. It's not how much weight you have on you or how thin you are or any of that. It is about how much you love yourself. Hands down. Hands down. And the most attractive people are the ones who love themselves. And I don't care what they look like. They love who they are. They're going to attract it. An example, and I'm spacing the name. He's a big motivational speaker. He has no arms, no legs. Do you remember his name?
Yes.
He's Australian.
Right.
Anyway.
No, he's not Australian.
Oh, he's not. But
Croatian.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But he, to me, is so attractive. Nick. Yeah. To me, he's so attractive. Like, seriously, because he owns who he is. He loves who he is. And so the truth is, it does not matter how we look. It's how we love ourselves. And again, like attracts like. And again, the reason I had all these interviews is I've attracted my soulmate, and it truly is he's my soulmate. But I can tell people till I'm blue in the face what it worked for me. But I had all these people who also shared their story. And then after a time, you see there's a pattern. There's something that happens that all of us soulmate relationships have in common. And that is we love ourselves. Now, are we perfect? No. Or do we always love ourselves? No. But you love yourself enough to know that you are deserving of a good relationship. So it's not about how you look. And I keep emphasizing that because, again, I mentioned on the Facebook, she made that comment, and I made a comment about in nursing. I had a patient who was born with severe disabilities. Like she was even had, I can't remember if she had a trach, but she, she's very deformed, couldn't walk. And she found this great guy who was an able-bodied guy who they fell in love. So you just don't know. But it's not about looks. It's really not. And if we go for looks, often we're doing the wrong thing. And it's more about that love for yourself and that like attracts like, and trusting the universe, which is hard sometimes.
Yes, exactly. We have more ladies joining us. Hi, Nancy and Dawn, Michael, I guess. So please let us know if you have any questions to this wonderful lady. But I'm gonna go for another question, because we ladies, we are so aware about how we look, yes? And we just talked about that a little bit. But there is another question from another, and she's a coach. She's very aware. There is like no doubt that she knows her beliefs and everything around that. But she is asking, is thinness, so the skinny part or being in shape, something we can attract? So body weight.
Yes. You know why? Because when we talk to our bodies, the cells actually respond to what we say to our bodies. So I actually did a whole guided meditation on weight loss, which is on Insight Timer. I think it's on my website too. But when you tell your body how much you love your body, what happens is you actually do lose weight. It's an E squared. Pam Grout wrote the book E squared, and she has all these 9 experiments. And one of them is spend a week just not eating whatever you want, but the whole time you eat, just eat with so much love. Like, oh, when I eat this, I'm going to feel so good. I feel so good when I eat this. My body is feeling thinner and thinner every day. It's what we say to our bodies. And I don't know if you've ever done that or anyone listening has done that, but I've done that where I'm like sitting there being really hard on my body, and I can like totally cut out food and have a low calorie diet, and I'm gaining weight because I'm telling myself, gosh, look how much weight I've gained. Like, I'm so upset about all the weight. And so you need to change that conversation. We have what we say and what we believe have more effect on us than food. And another example, Anita Moorjani wrote the book, Dying to Be Me. Amazing book. She had a near-death experience. Have you read it?
Yes.
Heard of it? And so
yeah.
and I've actually seen her speak, and she said, she was eating healthy, but when she was eating it, she was so worried about dying of cancer because her dad died of cancer, her best friend died of cancer, that she was eating it with the idea, if I eat, I'll get cancer. Because again, the universe always hears yes. Even though she's like, I want to eat to prevent cancer, the universe doesn't hear prevent, it just hears eat cancer. And she ended up getting lymphoma and ended up having a near-death experience. So, and she came back, she healed miraculously. But the lesson she learned, and the lesson that I teach everybody, is what we say to our bodies while we eat, what we say when we look in the mirror. One other example, I had a friend who had breast cancer, someone I worked with, and I was like, wow, look how much weight she lost. I was kind of jealous. I was really worried about my weight back then. And I looked at her and I'm like, oh, how'd she lose that weight? And she's like, oh, I got cancer. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, I'm sorry. And then I went home that day and I looked in the mirror and I just thanked my entire body. And so if we do that every day or every week, just to like look in the mirror and say, thank you, arms, for working so well. Thank you, breast, for being there. The parts you really don't like about yourself, thank you for working. I'm so grateful that my skin is holding me together. If you say loving things to your body will respond and you will lose weight. I really believe that. And I've seen it in my own life. Yeah.
This is beautiful what you said. And from what I hear, it's all circles to our stories that we keep creating in our lives. And most of them is not very supportive. Right. So what is about this? How the manifestation work actually? How we can help ourselves to stay in this higher vibration? Because come on, 95% of our thoughts are negative. So except loving ourselves, become more aware of your stories. Is there any other technique that you use to help yourself to stay on this higher level of vibration, to attract what you want, like you said at the beginning, not what you don't really want?
Yeah, follow your joy. That's it.
Follow your joy.
I just, as you know, I did a video series called 365 Days of Joy. And then I did 365 Days of Miracle Moments because I'm crazy that way. They're like 5 days between them. They were so crazy. I don't recommend it, but I do recommend following your joy every day. And what happened was, because it was an experiment for me, and because I truly believed when we follow our joy.
Okay, I have to stop you here because we all say joy, joy, joy. What is that joy? Because we have it in our minds, and every story is, we all interpret stuff differently. So what is joy for you? What do you mean when you say that you are following joy every day?
I love
for
it.
You?
Thank you for asking that, because that does need some clarification. Joy is something that is available to us all the time. It's just opening your eyes to it. So it's a moment. Joys are several little moments. To me, watching the birds fly is absolute joy. Being in nature is absolute joy. The other day there was a dog who came near me and was rolling in the grass, and it was so happy. That is joy. Joy is something that is accessible to every single one of us at every moment of our life. Like, it literally, I tell people, because they've been upset about COVID and the Black rights and all the things going on in the world and the media, I said, turn off the media, open your front door, step outside, and look at all the beauty around you. You will find something. Even if you live in a city, there's probably one little flower that's pushed through the cracks of the sidewalk. Because when you become more aware of joy, like I did, where I made a conscious effort to follow my joy, what happens, Beata, is I started to see more joyful things. It fed onto each other. And so it got to the point where I see joy all the time. Now, if you're just starting, you're like living a negative world. You're like, how do I do that? Just start small. Just make that intention. First thing in the morning says, hey, you can do one thing. What is joy asking me? And do it. Or you can say, okay, I'm going to set the intention that I will have more joyful moments, and just be open. Be open to whatever comes to you. But it's also a mindfulness practice, right? Because we become more aware. And if you look at children, which we were all children once, and if you look at children now, they get it. They know joy. They go to a playground, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, it's such a joy to watch them, because they don't care about the future. They don't care about the past. You ask them about something happened yesterday, or even for breakfast, or like, I don't know, I'm just on this jungle gym and having so much fun. That's the energy I want to bring back to people, because when we're in that joy, we're very present, we're living, we're in the journey. But the universe starts bringing things to us, because everything that we're wanting is waiting for us. Can I explain that just a little further?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a really big Abraham Hicks fan. So if people have never heard of Abraham, check out Abraham. But Abraham's these 5 steps. And what it is when you have something that happens in your life, a problem, say something, you run into, you don't like, let's say for dating, you're on a date, you're like, God, I really didn't like this guy. Well, what happens is, because what you saw you don't like, on the other skirt of that is something you do like, and that's your ask. So it happens automatically. So when bad things happen, we need to understand that it's not bad, because it gives us clarity of what we do want. So what happens is that ask happens automatically. Step 2 is the universe starts working on it. It says, okay, cool. We're going to work on this for you. We're going to find that right person for you, because you put out another request and you're getting more clear. Step 3 is you need to just get in a good feeling place. Stay out of the way. Don't get online and figure out where that good looking guy is or whatever. You need to step away, and that is for following your joy. Do something to not get in your way, because the universe is doing its job. If you try too hard, the universe isn't going to help. You're just going to get in your own way. Step 4 is to get really good at getting out of your way, like I did with my joy videos. That was a step 4 thing. Step 5 is to don't feel bad when you go back to step 1. And so I love these 5 steps. I actually have a whole podcast on it if people are curious, back probably a year ago. But if step 1 is never a bad thing, because it's putting out what we want. So just always know that there's no bad thing. Things that are wanting are waiting for us. We just got to feel good and let the universe bring it to us. This is why I love law of attraction. To me, there's no better way of living than understanding how magical the universe is. And I've seen it in my life, and all my guests on my podcast, I've seen it in their life too.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Oh my gosh. I will go back and write down these steps. That is so powerful.
It's so good. I don't take credit, but I love teaching it.
Thank you. If you would not learn that, you would not share. So thank you so much for growing still, even you are on the high level of awareness already. Let me just notice that Kasia is just joined us. Garlene joined us. They are both saying, hey, hello, ladies. Hi, Michele. Garlene. Oh, I thought that you have a question, but okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a last chance to ask question live. So please post your question before we will finish. So from all our conversations, what I hear about law in attraction, and the title also of our conversation, you have to be in action. It's not that you can just sit with your arms across and wait. It's not about that. Right. So even this mindset work that you have to do to find what are your beliefs and what is stopping, it's also an action. You have to be in action, because when you are in inaction, nothing is gonna work. Is it what I hear?
Absolutely. And that's why I love the title Law of Attraction in Action, which is the name of my podcast, which was a divine download, by the way. But it really is, you need to take that step. And I think what happens is people get comfortable. We get comfortable in our places and we're like, no, I don't really want to do that. But you know what? You just take that one little step, and on that, there's that door, that magic door. On the other side of the door is like 10 beautiful doors. And you would have never seen that door if you didn't go through that one. And so oftentimes, Mel Robbins is another great person. She wrote 5-Second Rule.
I love her.
I love that because it's all about, you get an inspired thought. So inspired thoughts are something that really excite you. Like you're so excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do this. You have 5 seconds to act on it. Because if you don't, what happens is the ego starts chiming in and tries to talk you out of it. We all do it, including me. Absolutely. One thing that is my superpower, why I feel like I've been so successful, is because I get inspired and I probably take action within second too. Like I just do it. I have no fear when it comes to action. Of course, like taking over that meetup, but afterwards I'm like, oh crap. But we have to take that action. So it's oftentimes people think, like they watch the movie The Secret, like, oh, all I need to do is think about it and believe and do affirmations and vision boards and it will come. But what's often asked of us is it's waiting for us, but it's behind door number 3. And you have to be willing to take the step through 1 to 2. And I've seen my life, I've seen it unfold, and it really is following the breadcrumbs. And if we just focus on the breadcrumbs versus the big, I want that, that's overwhelming. Instead, you go, okay, what is this thing that excites me? I'm going to move that direction. I'm going to say yes to it and see where it goes. And if you do it through an inspired action, I believe if there's something that's within you that excites you, it is meant to manifest, because it wouldn't be in you, in that excitement, if it wasn't meant to manifest. And I hold to that all the time. Yeah.
You said just something fantastic. I love this metaphor or analogy of doors, that you have to sometimes go through 5, 10, 20, I don't know how many. When life was not, I called it on my side back in time, when my fiancé started his new life after 11 years, I thought that there is no doors. I only saw walls, and it's what I was blocking. So I think Bernard Burchard, he says about that, like when we are building walls, it not only keeps you away from the bad stuff, but also from a good stuff.
Right. So, good one. Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes. So just be aware, again, what you said at the very beginning about what you really, really want, and don't be afraid to take risk to go through these doors. Or if there is a wall, you have to build one. There's no other way.
Build one. I love that. And that's kind of something that I love to do. Like my podcast, all I knew is I wanted to teach. I knew nothing about podcasting. I literally had to like Google, like I still like, I do everything on my own, but I didn't know anything when I started, but I started, and I didn't know it would connect me with, I'm reaching almost 100 countries now, almost 100,000 listens. If I didn't say yes to that inspired thought, I wouldn't have met people like you and all the other great people that I have on my show. So it truly has been about that action. And it's imperfect action. I want to state that it's imperfect action, because that's that 5 seconds you go, you're not going to know how to do it right. You're going to be floppy. When my first podcast, if you go listen to them, like I didn't even have a microphone, like it was bad quality, but the stuff in there was good, but I've learned. But we can't stop ourselves because we're trying to get it perfect. That will always keep you from getting out there.
Right. And I don't know who said that, but not my own words, but someone said, you will learn on the way, on the run, when you started, just start. Don't remember who owns that words, but it very speaks to me. And I have one question from Garlene. Does the law of attraction work great in all aspects of life? If yes, which area do you feel needs the most work on?
It's so individual. Some people really get the money issue, no problem, but then they struggle in the relationships. I think we need to be all inclusive. We need to look at all areas of our life. And even if we do, what I like to think about is one thing always affects the other. So if you're focusing just on money, then those other areas are going to fall apart. I come back to joy, right? To me, I come back to letting the universe guide me to where I need to go. And then I will see roadblocks. I will see the parts of me that are resisting. But when I follow my joy and I get curious and I do things that excite me, it will present the issues that I need to work on. And I'm glad when they show up, because then I'm like, okay, I think I need to work on my money tapes, because obviously they're not working very good. And so then I get an opportunity to work on that. And then, maybe my relationships aren't doing so good. Oh, okay. So we can't separate them. I think they're so important. Actually, Victoria and I did an event called Manifest Your Best Life. And we talked about all areas of your life. Your health affects your financials affect your health, your relationships. They all affect your life.
Right.
So
There's
I don't
no
believe
separation.
Right. And when I started my coaching, I'm like, okay, well, what do people need most? I hear a lot of people need to manifest money. I'm like, okay, I'll help with money. But when I started coaching people, I'm like, it's not just money, it's the relationships, or it's their health. You can't make money if your health is struggling. You can't have, a good business if you have bad relationships that are going to hold you down. So that you need to work on all of them, but don't let that be overwhelming, because to me, if you just love yourself, follow your joy, you let the universe guide you and bring to you for your greatest and highest good, you will get all of it. And I mean all of it. And there's a lot of people who are very wealthy, but they don't know law of attraction. And are they probably happy? No, they're just focusing on money. Law of attraction to me and what I teach is everything.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all this great knowledge with us and inspiring us to change, because you had to change yourself to get to where you are, and change is scary.
It starts with you.
Yes, yep. Starts with you. I love that. So is there any final thought that you want to leave our audience with? Maybe something that you do daily to keep your vision aligned and that keeps you going? Is there any technique or quote or affirmation that you would like to share?
I pray and meditate daily. And I say pray in the sense I always ask spirit for help. But the one thing that I've been saying a lot, especially lately, and I've been saying over the years, but I've been more intentional about lately, is I'm always asking spirit, how can I be of service to you? And to me, that's my drive, is to awake people up and help people come into their own divinity. But for me, it's asking and surrendering. Surrender is a big one. I surrender it to God, to spirit, and to the universe. And I just want to get out of my own way. But I also want to be of service. So I'm surrendering, but I'm listening, right? So I think I make an intention every day to surrender and listen, and then take action on whatever I've been given. And I cannot tell you how many amazing downloads I get. And I call them downloads. They're not me, because they're so brilliant.
And so I hear, do whatever you have to do and take actions. You have to take actions and help the universe, or tell the universe, I'm ready. Right.
But don't forget to ask for help. Don't forget to ask the universe for help. You know what? I need your help right now. Can you help facilitate, this a little bit better? And every time I give it to God or spirit, for one, my body relaxes, my stress goes down, but something magical happens every time.
I love that. Thank you so much. And please share with our audience how they can find you. I know, like you already said, you have podcasts, you have this 365 days of joy. You do so many things. You coach, you have your book. Yeah, I didn't mention. Tell us about that. So how we can find you, the easiest way to connect.
Well, you can find everything on my website. It's probably the best way, is michele-joy.com. That's MICHELE-JOY.com. And on there I have everything, including how to access my podcast, which is called Law of Attraction in Action. My book is called Thrive and Shine, How to Find Happiness When Life Falls Apart. And that was about how I survived my divorce. So if you're going through some struggle or divorce, especially, this is a way to really understand the basics of law of attraction and how I came into this wonderful life that I have now. But yeah, mostly my website is the best. And I'm also on Insight Timer. If you just look up Michele Joy, I'm now posting my guided meditations, which I'm getting a lot of positive reviews, which is really awesome. And I actually have one on there about surrender. So definitely check that out. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Thank you everyone for being here with us. And remember, share, like, and connect with Michele, because she's awesome.
Yes.
And she has so much content already out there that you will get a great idea who she is and how she can help you. I can help you as well. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me, Beata, at beatalifecoaching.com. So it's BEATA. I know it's not that easy. But first of all, I want to say thank you to Michele. Thank you so very much for spending this half an hour with us. I hope you will be back, and I wish you all the best. Please keep changing the world, inspire the world, and see you next time.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you on my podcast as well. So we're scheduled tomorrow for the interview, which is not live, but I'm excited to have you on as well. So thank you for having me on here. This has been a blast.
Thank you. Have a great day. Namaste.